Jai Hind. Every year, lakhs of young Indians dream of wearing the uniform. Some dream of becoming army officers. Some aspire to join the Navy. Some want to fly in the Air Force. And whenever I interact with students, NCC cadets, parents, and educational institutions, I notice one thing. The dream is there, the passion is there, the willingness to work hard is there. But very often, the roadmap is missing. Many students know they want to join the armed forces. But when I ask them a simple question, which entry are you preparing for? Many do not have a clear answer. Some think National Defence Academy is the only route. Some discover opportunities too late. Some prepare for the wrong examination, and some give up even before beginning because they believe they have already missed their chance. And that is precisely why I have decided to start this platform. My name is Major Gemswin Bosco Johnson, and I have had the privilege of serving the Indian Army over a decade. Currently through NCC, I regularly interact with students, NCC cadets, associate NCC officers, principals, teachers, and parents. Over the years, I realized something very important. The biggest problem among the students is not the lack of talent, it is the lack of awareness. I have met capable NCC cadets who did not fully understand the opportunities available to them. I have met parents who genuinely wanted to guide their children, but simply did not know where to begin. And I kept thinking to myself, if only somebody had explained the entire picture to them at the right time. This platform is a humble attempt to do exactly that. Through this platform, I intend to discuss defense career opportunities, NDA, CDS, AFCAT and other entries, NCC opportunities, competitive exam preparation, leadership, personality development, discipline, current affairs, self-improvement, and most importantly, I want this platform to become a place where students receive clarity, because clarity creates confidence and confidence creates action. Let me share a small incident. A few years ago, I interacted with a student who was extremely enthusiastic about joining the armed forces. He had the potential, he had the passion, and he was physically fit. But he came to know about certain opportunities much later than he should have. His first question to me was, "Sir, have I already missed my chance?" That question stayed with me because I realized there are thousands of students asking the same question, and the answer in most cases is no. The problem is not lack of opportunity. The problem is lack of awareness. This is exactly what we are trying to solve through this platform. Before we discuss examinations, entries, and notifications, let us pause for a moment and ask ourselves a simple question. Why do people want to join the armed forces? Many students answer, "Sir, I want to wear the uniform." Some say, "Sir, I want respect." Others say, "Sir, I want adventure." And all these answers are perfectly valid. But I believe the armed forces offer something much bigger. The armed forces provide an opportunity to lead, to take responsibility, to make decisions, to serve a purpose larger than yours. In today's world, many careers provide employment. A very few careers provide leadership opportunities at a young age. As an officer, you are expected to inspire confidence. You are expected to take responsibility for people, resources, and missions. And these experiences shape you for your life. Many parents often ask me, "Sir, is it a good career?" My answer is simple: yes, because The armed forces are not merely a profession. They are an institution that develops character. Of course, there are tangible benefits: attractive salary and allowances, medical facilities, accommodation, CSD facilities, adventure activities, training opportunities, travel, welfare support. But if you ask most officers what they value most, a very few will start with the salary. They will talk about the camaraderie, experiences, growth, memories, and leadership lessons. And above all, the privilege to serve the nation. One misconception students often have is that joining the armed forces is only about clearing an examination. It is not. Examinations are important, but equally important are the qualities such as discipline, communication skills, physical fitness, awareness, leadership, time management, consistency. I have seen average students achieve remarkable success because they developed these qualities. And I have seen extremely intelligent students struggle because they neglected them. That is why through this platform, we will not discuss only examinations. We will also discuss habits, mindset, leadership, current affairs, communication, and personal development. Because these qualities help not only in defense examinations, but in every walk of life. Now that we understand why the armed forces remain one of the most rewarding career options in the country, let us move to the most important question. How exactly does one become an officer in the Indian Armed Forces? Is NDA the only route? What if you missed NDA? What opportunities exist for NCC cadets? What can engineering students do? What about medical students? What about graduates? And let us now understand the complete roadmap. Now that we understand why the armed forces remain one of the most rewarding career options in the country, let us move to the most important question. How exactly does one become an officer in the Indian Armed Forces? Is NDA the only route? What if you missed NDA? What opportunities exist for NCC cadets? What can engineering students do? What about medical students? What about graduates? So let us understand the complete roadmap. Now let us come to the most important part of today's discussion. Whenever I meet students, one of the first questions I ask them is, at what stage are you currently? Are you in school? Have you just completed class 12? Are you studying in college? Are you an NCC cadet? Are you already a graduate? Because the opportunities available to you depends largely upon your stage of life and educational qualification. One of the biggest mistakes students make is preparing first and understanding later. It should actually be the opposite. First, understand your opportunities, then prepare accordingly. So, let us start from the earliest stage. If you are studying in school or if you are a parent watching this video, there are certain opportunities you should be aware of much earlier. The first is Sainik schools. Sainik schools were established to provide quality education while simultaneously nurturing discipline, leadership, physical fitness, and national values. Joining a Sainik school does not automatically make someone an officer, but it certainly creates an environment that develops many qualities required for future success. Similarly, we have Rashtriya military schools, which have produced numerous distinguished officers and leaders over the years. Another prestigious institution is the Rashtriya Indian Military College, RIMC, at Dehradun. Admission is highly competitive, but students who gain entry receive exceptional exposure and opportunities. Now, I am not saying every student must join these institutions. The message is much simpler. Be aware that such opportunities exist. Awareness itself can create good opportunities. Now let us come to the stage where most students begin seriously thinking about defense careers after class 12. If somebody asks me, "Sir, what is the most well-known route to become an officer after school?" my answer would be National Defense Academy. National Defense Academy is one of the most prestigious military training institutions in the world. Through NDA, young men and women can aspire to become officers in the Indian Army, the Indian Navy, and the Indian Air Force. Every year, lakhs of students apply. Only a small percentage eventually make it through the written examination, SSB interview, medical examination, and training process. However, I want to clarify something. Many students believe NDA is only for toppers. That is simply not true. NDA is not merely a test of intelligence. It is a test of preparation. It is a test of consistency. It is a test of awareness. It is a test of physical fitness and personality. In fact, our next video will be entirely dedicated to answering a very common question: can an average student clear NDA? And I think the answer may surprise many of you. Now, let me talk about an opportunity that many students are unaware about: the Technical Entry Scheme, commonly known as TES. Whenever I interact with science students, most of them know about NDA, but surprisingly, many do not know much about TES. For eligible science students, TES can become another pathway towards becoming an officer. This is why I always advise students, do not become obsessed with one route. Understand all the opportunities available to you. Then choose wisely. Now let us talk about students who dream of becoming doctors. Many students are aware of medical colleges, but a very few know that they can combine medicine with military service. The Armed Forces Medical College, or AFMC, is one of India's most respected medical institutions. It offers an opportunity for students to pursue medical education, while eventually serving the nation through the AFMC. For students who are passionate about both medicine and service, this can be an excellent option. At this stage, I want you to pause for a moment. Whether you are in class 9th, class 10th, class 11th, or class 12, remember one thing: the earlier you become aware of opportunities, the greater your advantage. A student who starts understanding defense careers in class 9 has a very different advantage comparing to somebody who discovers them after graduation. Awareness saves time. Awareness creates preparation time. Preparation time creates confidence, and confidence often improves the performance. Now, let us move to a stage where many students actually discover their interest in the armed forces: college. And this is where NCC becomes extremely important. As somebody currently serving in NCC and interacting with thousands of cadets, I can confidently say that NCC is the one of the finest youth development organization in the country. Unfortunately, many people still think NCC is only about camps, parades, uniforms, certificates, and other related activities. But NCC is much more than that. NCC develops leadership, confidence, teamwork, communication, discipline, and responsibility. And in my opinion, these qualities are very valuable, irrespective of whether you eventually join the armed forces or not. I remember interacting with a cadet who was extremely shy when he first joined. He rarely volunteered. He avoided speaking in public. He preferred remaining in the background, always. But over a period of time, through camps, responsibilities, and exposure, he gradually transformed. A few years later, the same cadet was confidently addressing large gatherings and leading big teams. That transformation is what NCC can do. The certificate is important, but the confidence you gain is even more important. Does NCC help in joining the armed forces? This is one of the most common questions I receive, and the answer is yes. NCC certainly helps. It develops personality, it develops leadership, it develops confidence. And depending upon eligibility, NCC cadets may also have certain additional opportunities available to them. However, let me clarify something. NCC is not a shortcut. NCC is not a replacement for preparation. NCC is an enabler. Ultimately, success still depends upon your preparation, your performance, and your consistency. Now let us come to a question that I hear very frequently. Sir, I missed NDA. Is my dream over? My answer is always the same. Absolutely not. There are multiple opportunities available, even after graduation. For graduates, CDS remains one of the most important entry routes. Through CDS, candidates can aspire to join institutions such as Indian Military Academy, Officers Training Academy, Indian Naval Academy, Air Force Academy. For many students, CDS becomes the next major gateway after graduation. Students interested specifically in the Air Force should also understand Air Force Common Admission Test. AFCAT provides opportunities across different branches of the Indian Air Force. For graduates aspiring for an Air Force career, AFCAT becomes an important examination to understand and prepare for. Now let me briefly mention some specialized opportunities. Engineering graduates have various technical entry opportunities. Law graduates can explore opportunities such as Judge Advocate General branch. Medical professionals can serve through avenues such as Army Medical Corps, Army Dental Corps, and Military Nursing Service. Veterinary professionals can also explore opportunities such as Remount and Veterinary Corps. The purpose of mentioning these entries today is not to discuss them in detail. We will do dedicated videos on them in the future. The purpose today is simple: to make you aware that opportunities exist. If there is one thing I want you to remember from this entire section, it is this: there is not one path to the uniform. There are many. Some begin in school, some after class 12, some through NCC, some through graduation, some through technical qualifications, some through medical professions. Your responsibility is to identify your route and begin preparing early. Now, whenever I discuss defense careers, I notice that students are not only the people who have questions, parents also have concerns. Questions about career growth, salary, benefits, future opportunities, and those questions are completely valid. So, in the next section, let us talk directly to parents and address some of the most common questions I receive. Before I move further, I would like to speak directly to the parents who may be watching this video. Over the years, I have interacted with hundreds of parents through schools, colleges, NCC institutions, and various students' interactions. Whenever a child expresses interest in joining the armed forces, parents naturally have questions. And rightly so. Every parent wants the best future for their child. Some of the most common questions I receive are: is this a good career? What about salary? What about family welfare? What happens after retirement? Is there a future outside the armed forces? These are all genuine concerns, and let me try to address them briefly. Many people view the armed forces as merely another profession. In reality, it is much more than that. An officer is entrusted with responsibility at a very young age. Leadership is not taught only through presentations. Leadership is learned by leading people. Decision making is not learned from books alone. It is learned through responsibility. The armed forces develop qualities that remain useful throughout the life. Leadership, confidence, discipline, team management, communication skills, crisis management, and decision making. These qualities remain valuable even long after the service. Many parents ask specifically about benefits. Without getting into the technical details, officers receive facilities such as attractive salary and allowance, medical facilities for self and family, accommodation facilities, CSD canteen facilities, leave and travel benefits, professional training opportunities, adventurous activities, sports and educational opportunities. But honestly, if you ask most officers what they value most, they rarely begin with these benefits. They usually talk about camaraderie, experiences, growth, exposure, a sense of purpose, and above all, the honor of serving the nation. This is another question that frequently comes up, especially from parents. The answer is simple. The skills developed in the armed forces are highly valued in the civilian world as well. Leadership, management, communication, discipline, and decision making. All of these are transferable skills. In fact, many officers continue to excel in various professions after leaving service. Therefore, joining the armed forces should not be viewed as limiting opportunities. In many cases, it expands them. If there is one request I would like to make to parents, it is this. Encourage awareness, encourage curiosity, allow your children to explore opportunities, help them gather information, ask questions, attend orientation sessions, watch informative content, and then take informed decisions. Because many opportunities are lost not due to lack of ability, but due to lack of awareness. And awareness always comes before achievement. Now, let me answer some of the most common questions I receive from students. Is coaching necessary to clear NDA or CDS? My answer is simple. No. Coaching can help. It can provide structure. It can provide guidance. It can provide discipline. But coaching is not a substitute for effort. And I have also seen students succeed through self-study. Ultimately, what matters is consistency, proper guidance, hard work, smart preparation. Do not assume that paying for coaching automatically guarantees you success. It does not. Another question is, can an average student clear National Defence Academy exam? This is probably the most common question I receive, and my answer is absolutely yes. Many students wrongly assume that NDA is only for geniuses. That is not true. NDA is not merely a test of intelligence. It is a test of preparation, discipline, consistency, communication, awareness, and fitness. In fact, this topic is so important that the next entire video will be dedicated to this question alone. So stay tuned for that. Another question is, my English is weak. Can I still succeed? Yes, without any doubt. Communication is a skill, and skills can be developed. Do not let language become a psychological barrier. Focus on improvement. Read regularly, speak regularly, practice consistently. The progress will follow. Remember, many successful officers came from diverse educational and linguistic backgrounds. One another question which I hear is, how should I prepare for current affairs? My advice is very simple. Develop a newspaper reading habit. Not only for examinations, but for your life. A future officer should understand national events, international events, defense developments, economic issues, social issues, and other related things. You don't need to spend hours every day. Even 20 to 30 minutes of consistent reading can create a huge advantage over time. This is a topic we will discuss in detail in the future videos. One another question is, does NCC help? Yes, absolutely. NCC helps tremendously, not just because of certificates, but because it develops confidence, leadership, discipline, communication skills, and exposure. However, let me repeat something very important. NCC helps. Definitely it helps. But NCC does not replace preparation. Success still depends upon your effort and, of course, your performance. Another common question which I hear is, when are NDA and CDS examinations generally conducted? Both NDA and CDS examinations are generally conducted twice every year through UPSC. One cycle is usually conducted in the first half of the year. Another cycle is usually conducted in the second half of the year. However, students should always refer to official UPSC notifications for the latest schedule. Never depend entirely on social media forwards or unofficial information. Always verify from official sources. Another question which I commonly hear is, where should I start today? This is my favorite question because it has a very simple answer. Start with awareness. Understand your route. Understand your eligibility. Develop a reading habit. Maintain physical fitness. Improve communication skills. And remain consistent. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Begin today. Now, before we conclude this discussion, I want to briefly talk about some of the biggest mistakes I repeatedly observe among different aspirants. These mistakes prevent many capable students from achieving their goals. And if you can avoid them early, you will be already ahead of many others. Over the years, whether through my service, my interaction with students, NCC cadets, aspirants, or educational institutions, I have observed a few common mistakes. And what surprises me is this. Many students fail not because they lack ability. They fail because they repeatedly make avoidable mistakes. Today, I will briefly touch upon them. In a future video, we will discuss this in much greater detail. Mistake number 1, lack of awareness. This is perhaps the biggest mistake. Many students work hard, very hard, but they are not even sure which opportunity applies to them. Some prepare for wrong examination. Some discover opportunities after crossing the eligibility age. Some simply depend on hearsay and social media forwards. My advice is very simple. Spend time understanding the opportunities before jumping into the preparation. Clarity saves years of confusion. Mistake number 2, ignoring current affairs. I see this mistake repeatedly. Students focus only on textbooks, only on mathematics, only on written examinations, but they ignore the world around them. A future officer should understand national issues, international events, defense developments, economic trends, social developments. Develop a newspaper habit, not for the examinations alone, for a life, because awareness, that differentiates leaders from followers. Mistake number 3, ignoring physical fitness. Many students assume that first I will clear the written examination. Fitness can wait. These are certain lines people think. That approach is very dangerous. The armed forces demand balance. Mental fitness, physical fitness, emotional fitness. All of these 3 matters a lot. Start early. Remain active. Develop good and healthy habits. Your future self will thank you. Mistake number 4, weak communication skills. Many students know the answer, but struggle to express them. Communication is not about speaking fancy English. Communication is about expressing your thoughts clearly and confidently. Read, observe, listen, speak, and practice. Communication improvises with usage. Mistake number 5, ignoring personality development. This is extremely common. Students focus only on marks, only on examinations, only on coaching, but forget leadership, forget teamwork, forget responsibility, forget character. Remember, the armed forces do not merely select examination candidates. They select future leaders, and leadership matters. Mistake number 6, inconsistency. And this is the most dangerous mistake of all. Many students are highly motivated on Monday, completely exhausted by Friday, inspired after watching a motivational video, inactive the following week. Success does not belong to the most motivated. Success belongs to the most consistent. Let me share a simple observation. Over the years, I have seen exceptionally intelligent students struggle, not because they lacked knowledge, but because they lacked consistency. At the same time, I have seen average students achieve remarkable success, not because they were extraordinary, but because they showed up every day. They read every day. They exercised every day. They improved every day. They remained consistent, and eventually, consistency defeated talent. That lesson applies not only to defense examination, it applies to life itself. What should you do after watching this video? If you are in school, you become aware of opportunities early. If you are in class 11 or 12, understand NDA, TES, and other relevant opportunities. If you are an NCC cadet, take NCC seriously. Use it as a platform for growth and leadership. If you are a graduate, explore CDS, AFCAT, and other opportunities relevant to your qualification. If you are a parent, encourage awareness, encourage curiosity, support informed decision making. The one message I want you to remember is this. As we come to the end of this discussion, there is only one message I want the viewers to remember. There is not one path to the uniform. There are many. Some begin at school, some after class 12th, some after NCC, some after graduation, some through technical qualifications, some through medical professions. Your responsibility is not to know everything. Your responsibility is to identify your route and start moving one step at a time, one day at a time, one improvement at a time. When I started this platform, I asked myself a simple question. If I could help one student discover an opportunity he was unaware of, if I could help one cadet avoid a mistake, if I could help one parent gain clarity, would it be worthwhile? And my answer is a yes. That is why this platform exists, to share information, to share experiences, to answer questions, and to help young Indians move closer to their goals. Now, before I leave, let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered, sir, I am not a topper. My English is average. My mathematics is weak. I studied in a small school. Can I still clear NDA? If you have ever asked yourself that question, then our next video is for you, because in the next video, we will discuss one of the biggest myths surrounding National Defense Academy preparation. Can an average student clear NDA? And I can assure you, the answer may surprise you. Until then, keep learning, keep improving, stay disciplined, stay curious, and keep moving towards your goal. Jai Hind.